What's up guys, this is Aaron from Gear Up and welcome to another episode, and I hope you're doing okay this week because it has been a tough one. Lots of looting, lots of killing, lots of disrespecting. Please guys, do the right thing, share some love and respect to each other. So anyways, today I have a couple of things I want to talk about. These guys were sent to me a couple weeks ago. First is the Pamu Slide Mini from China and the Mifo O5 Plus from Hong Kong. One is $67, one is $89. Only $20 difference apart from each guys. And I thought, let's do a battle royale. Which Kung Fu or Kung Fi or Blue Fu or Hai Fu is better than the other? Let's do this after the messages, and TLDR, they are actually better than you think, with a lot of strengths and some weaknesses too. Let's do this after the messages. Alright guys, here is the lineup of our contenders, and on the left representing China we have Pamu's Slide Mini, and on the right we have from Hong Kong Mifo's O5 Plus. This is roughly all the stuff that came in each respective boxes, except what you don't see here are like the superfluous things, owner's manuals, warranty cards, so on and so forth. But what's of note is the Pamu's come with a USB-C cable while the Mifo's come with a micro USB-C cable, so that's a downer right off the bat there. Now, in both cases though, they come in really generous number of ear tips, so finding a comfort level or sizing shouldn't be an excuse at all. The Pamu has one advantageous thing where it comes with its own pouch, whereas, that's about it really. Now, let's take a closer look at each of the items up close. We'll start with the cases first. So guys, here is the Pamu Slide Mini. And I'm not sure what about it slides, because the first generation had a sliding lid, but in this case it's only a clamshell. So nomenclature issues, I guess. It is definitely mini, smaller than the first gen, definitely smaller than the Mifo right there. In terms of build quality, this thing is very well put together, nice and solid. The design is nice and simple, nice pebble-like. It's easy to palm as well. It has this interesting crease right here at the top of the lid. I'm not sure if you can see it, and it's only on one side, so it gives it some interesting character. And also, as you can see from the reflection, there's a grade of plastics that they use, which I'm not a fan of. It is matte black, but it does attract grease after manhandling it for a while, so it does require a wipe down from time to time. Everything is well put together. When you squeeze it, there's not a creak or deformation anywhere. It has USB-C charging in here and Qi charging for $69. Qi charging is really hard to find in this arena, so it's really nice to have here. Over at the front, all you have is 4 LED lights, each one representing 25% of the battery life. So every time you put a earbud back in or close the lid, you see the battery level. In this case, 50%. And the battery case can hold another 4 charges outside of the 10 hours that's available on the earbuds themselves. So altogether around 40 hours, which is pretty darn impressive at this price range. Now let's look at the Mifo. So on the other side of the ring, we have the $87 Mifo, and immediately you can tell the contrast between the two, the matte black plastics of the Pamu versus this one that looks a little bit more expensive, a little bit more higher end. For $20, it's not bad of an impression that they impart. It has a chrome surround, it has silver finish, and an all metal body, guys. This thing is all metal, no plastics until you get to the inside. So it's really well built, really solid, but also huge. As you can see, my palm is just positively large, and right next to the Pamu's case, it's not even a contest. And in fact, after this, we're going to do the Bulge Test to see which is more pocketable, and I have a strange feeling that you already know who the winner is going to be. That guy. Now, while the case looks professional and it feels really nice in the hand and all, I don't find it very practical, besides how big it is. Now, the bottom here is not flat, as you can see, so when you lay it on the table, it wobbles around a lot. And worst of all is when you have the lid and it's lying on the table, it creates a huge imbalance and topples the case over every single time. Not a huge fan of that. And speaking of not a huge fan, you know what I'm going to talk about this one. What is a micro USB port doing here? Seriously? Yeah, this needs to go away, guys. So Mifo, pay attention to that. And right here on the right, we have the indicator lamp for the charging. And other than that, the case is very nondescript, very simple looking. So let's look on the inside real quick. When you do open the lid, you're greeted with a hinge that looks like a watch clasp, but I do not like this one either. See how flimsy this thing is? It doesn't stay open very well. It just looks nice, but that's about it. Here's a little message right there that they're trying to tell you. And here are the earbuds themselves in their own cavity, and the cavity itself is pretty nice. It looks nice and deep. not shiny plastics, which is also good. The magnets are pretty strong. Let's do a shake test on this guy and pop this back in real quick and try to keep the lid open, and let's do a shake test. Pardon the wobble, guys. And not bad. Aside from a little rattle, these things, the magnets stay strong. And so that's the case for the Mifo O5 Plus. Now, over to the Pamus to do the shake test. The lid is not very strong either, so I'm just going to prop it open and we'll see if these guys do fall out too. And yes. So the Mifos win in the magnet test. So here's the Pamu Slide Mini and the earbud placement in its case. And if you look closely, this is the right earbud and this is the left. So they're kind of reverse of your regular orientation of earbuds. I guess it's all in the name of design and just being unique. To take them out with these little cutouts, you can just stick your finger in there to pull them out. And then the left one is right here, and to put them back is as simple as that. Very easy, very simple to use. It's just a slight learning curve to cross hands to do that. Once you take out the earbud, the cavity is nice and deep, and there's shiny plastics as you can see in there, which you need to clean from time to time because I can see a lot of water residue, wax, and dirt gathering down there, which would be pretty gross and grimy after a while. All right, let's take a closer look at the earbud for the Pamu Slide Mini. This thing runs on a Qualcomm QCC3020 chip, and that basically means to you it has Bluetooth 5.0, aptX, AAC, and SBC codec support, as well as CVC phone call noise cancellation. And also, because of the power sipping nature of this Qualcomm chip, it imparts long battery life for the most part. But in this case, it's pretty awesome at 10 hours. Really, really good actually. And another thing it has is IPX6 water resistance rating, so you can work out with confidence, get exposed to the rain and such like that with occasional splashes will be perfectly fine. And this thing, as you can see, is a stem style design like an AirPod. And in the business end here, there's a 6mm composite driver, which is not bad, but also standard fare. Now, like looking around the earbud, the only weak part that I can see is this one single mic port. Yeah, you heard right. One single mic port between the two. So there's two mics between the two earbuds. And usually you see two per earbud. So we'll see how these suffer or not during phone calls. And we'll test it out later on. And looking around here, you see the charging ports as well as here is, I'm not sure if you can see this, if it's blinking. There's an LED light here that blinks really bright at night, and so if you're wearing this around people and people might get flashed in the face and might not appreciate it, one way to solve it is just get a Sharpie right on it and just deal with that from there. And up here is a speaker port, and around the speaker port is this little rubber piece which I'm really not sure what it's for. All it does is it really attracts a lot of lint and dust, and if you pull it aside, it doesn't really cover anything. So I'm not really exactly sure what it's there for. So if you don't want it, you can always just take it off and leave it as it is. I think it's just there for either design or for grip. And you can see the LED is pretty incessant right there. The controls are located at the top of the stem right here, right above the LED light, and they only accept single, double, and hold commands. There's no way to customize them because both the Mifo and the Pamus do not have app support or ability to change the sound profile. But it is what it is at this price range. Looking at the ear tips, you'll notice that they are oval. And most experts would say oval ear tips are the way to go because our ear canals are also the same shape. Therefore, they provide supposedly the best comfort and less pressure point. But in my opinion, it's really about execution and manufacturing quality or materials that they use. And in this case, the Pamus kind of fall flat a little bit. They do provide a decent, pretty good actually passive seal compared to the Mifos. But they fall out really easily. No matter what size I've tried, they do fall out quite easily. And so in terms of stability and comfort, they just aren't there yet. Another issue is because what makes oval ear tips successful is also the width and the length of the air sound port right here. So, and also the material of the earbuds. So in the Pamu's case, the material for the ear tips are really soft, too soft, and the ports are too wide in diameter, so it really hurts my ear. All I feel in my ear canal is the pressure against the plastic right here. So, for what it's worth, that's what my impression of it was. Now, when you pull it off, you're greeted with a pretty decent grill right there that protects it from debris. And I do like ear tips that have some kind of stiffener here in the ear tips themselves, so you can easily insert them. So neither the Pamu nor the Mifo have them, so it's kind of hard to put them back on. Takes maybe 3, 4, 5 tries sometimes, and then even then it's not perfectly seated. So there you go. That worked that time. Wow, it worked well for the camera. Anyways, that's that for the Pamu's earbud. Alright, let's move on to the unique earbuds for the Mifo O5 Plus. And if I thought that the Samsung Galaxy Buds Plus were small, in hindsight, these things take the cake, guys. It's so tiny, it's not even funny. They're really, really light. They fit in the ear super well. It's low profile. It's like it's barely protruding out of your ear when you have them on, if at all. And I've had this all week, and most of the time people would even know I was wearing something. They'll just interrupt me, and I'm like, dude, I'm trying to listen to stuff. So these guys don't attract much attention. Even with the chrome casing at the top here, I thought it would attract some kind of attention, but because they sit so far in the ear, it really is a non-issue. If you squint a little bit, it kind of looks like you're wearing earrings, but you know, most people don't even care. Now, speaking of fit, these guys really fit in the ears really well, and these two nubs are purposely made to fit in your intertragic notch in your earlobe. And if you're not sure what that is, Google it. These guys sit right in there and just lock in place. Really, really nice. Now, one interesting note is when I was unboxing this, my wife is, by the way, a teacher of the deaf, and when I unboxed it and opened it up, she's like, this kind of looks like hearing aids. And upon closer inspection, she saw these color, the blue coloring and the red on this side, and she's like, that's exactly how hearing aids are set up. Blue for left and red for right. So that's a nice little touch right there. Now, one huge problem I have with the smallness of these guys is with the controls. It's really hard to activate anything. If you have big fingers and big hands, just skip this model altogether. Even I have medium-sized fingers and found it really hard. Now, the controls are right here. The nubs, as you can see, they are physical buttons as opposed to touch over there on the Pamus. They are kind of stiff to control. And another problem I do have is with the setup. This is the left, this is the right. And for example, if you want to power on each earbud for whatever reason, they are on the opposing side, which is really strange. The power is on the inside edge here on the left, and on the right, the power on is on the outside edge, which is kind of opposite, and I'm not sure why they did that. So pay attention to that. If you don't mind it, that's all right. But it was a problem for me and I could never get used to it. It's a huge learning curve. Now, these guys, by the way, have Bluetooth 5.0, but I'm not sure who the chipset maker is. I asked the rep about this and they said Realtek, we never use Qualcomm. But on the website, in the marketing material, it says Qualcomm. So I'm not sure who to believe. So maybe Mifo, you should chime in and confirm this. This has a pretty good battery life, not as good as the Pamu, 7 hours of straight play before it dies. But don't forget, there's another 15 charges in the case itself. So, you know, you can go on a world trip and not even have to recharge it probably. This thing has better water resistance for some reason. IP67 proven dust resistance as well. So you can take this in a shower and be pretty much fine. And it also has transparency mode. It's a little bit hard to activate, but it has it that the Pamu doesn't. And both of these guys, by the way, I forgot to mention, have 1-year warranty. Now, looking closer at the earbud itself, at the top here is the LED light. It doesn't flash as often and crazily as the Pamus themselves, so I think it's only doing pairing and such, so it doesn't distract people. But the design itself is really discreet. As I said earlier, it's really, really small. I'm surprised they managed to get things in here and as tight as it is. The seam between the top casing here and the plastic is pretty much seamless and pretty good. So there's a little bit of a sharp edge in this corner, but that's about it. Here is nice and tight. Here are the charging pins and a magnet in the middle. And in the business end also is a 6mm driver of an unknown material. If you pull out the ear tip itself, this is round, unlike the oval ones. It's just a plastic mesh in there. This one seems harder to put back on though. I'm not a huge fan. It takes me about 5 or 6 tries most of the time to get it back on, and sometimes it doesn't even stay on properly. There are 2 microphones, I'm told. There's one down here, and I think another one should be hidden somewhere else, but I'm not sure where it is. Maybe there isn't, so maybe there's 2. Not sure. Anyways, moving on. Alright guys, it's Bluetooth distance test time. First up is the Pamu Slide Mini, and we have some 7 Asia Army playing here on Deezer on high fidelity. I'm going to put it at the end of my deck again. This Pamu Slide Minis have Bluetooth 5.0 just like the Mifos. So we'll see how these guys compare. It'll be a nice little comparison. So Bluetooth 5.0 should last you around 33 feet before it cuts out. Now, if you forget, it's right at the end of my deck there. And so as we round around the corner, usually we start hearing cutouts from the earbuds I test. And sure enough, right here, it's already starting to sputter. And I'm going to keep going until we have a complete cutout. And yes, it's right about here. Pretty much a standard norm. So nothing to rave about, nothing to complain. So it meets standards. So let's move on to the Mifo O5 Plus and see how that does. So now we have the Mifo O5 Plus with me, and we're gonna walk around the corner of the house. Again, the phone is exactly the same place where I left it. Have not touched it. And let's see, and this has Bluetooth 5.0 as well, and the cutout is right here again, pretty much exactly where the Pamu's ended. And if you keep walking, it dies almost pretty much at the same place, within 1 or 2 feet, so not bad at all. Now, so that's standard. I'm nothing to complain about. Let's move on to the microphone test for phone calls and see how these guys compare. Let's do it. I have a darn mosquito in my face. Alright guys, let's test the microphone quality on these guys during phone calls. I have the Mifos still on me. I'm gonna switch back and forth between the camera and this guy to show you or let you hear how well or not well these guys do noise cancellation. And as you know, when earbuds start doing noise cancellation, the bad ones make you sound really distant and grating, like really robotic almost and harsh. And so we're gonna cut between back and forth. It's quiet right now and there's a car coming. I'm gonna switch between here and that, and you see how that works. How is it? I know that the Mifos do a whole lot better than the Pamus, but I'll let you be the judge of this. That person gave me a funny look. Must be constipated today or something. They need more fiber in their diet. Not cool. Anyways, let's move on to the Pamu Slide Minis. Alright, now is the Pamu Slide Mini's turn, and I have them in my ears. We'll switch back and forth again between the mic and the camera to see how these guys handle it. In my own ears, the Mifos do a better job with noise cancelling and they sound more natural. The Pamus sound a little bit more harsher, quite a bit actually. And sometimes I think the single mic makes a difference. Don't forget the Pamus have 1 mic in each earbud, while the Mifos have 2. So for what it is. So I hope you can tell the difference. You be the judge and let me know down in the comments down below which do you prefer, the Mifos or the Pamus in terms of phone call quality. So if you haven't heard already, I am trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. Yes,
5,000 subscribers!
and only you can get me there, guys. So if you like this channel and like to see more content like this and want to support it, mash and kill that subscribe button down below. So thanks in advance for your help. Back to the program. That way. Or is it that way? Alright guys, let's talk about the bits that I do like, beginning with the Mifo O5 Plus. The sound quality on these guys are actually pretty balanced. I like them. They're not super offensive in any way. They don't do anything exceptionally well. I have to make that clear. When I listen to, say, the Indiana Jones soundtrack, nothing hits nice and tight and low, but it is very well controlled. It's not offensive in the lows or the highs, but they're very well balanced. I would call the character of these earbuds laid back. It's the best word I can come up with, or words. They're really chillax. They're very nothing special about them. They're good for all genres, except unless maybe you like low bass hitting, you know, dance music and such, or house music. But it's not bad at all. At least compared to the Pamus, I prefer these better. Now, earlier we mentioned how small these guys are, and that's what makes them unique. I love how special they feel on my ears. They're just small and just very unique. It's a talking point with everybody. And that alone, if you want to get it just for as a talking piece, the Mifos are it. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the battery on these things are super crazy long. 7 hours is pretty average for earbuds, but for something this small, it's not bad all on its own. But then you add another 15 charges from the case itself for an effective 100 hours, guys. 100 hours of listening time. You never really have to charge this thing for a whole 6 months or something, or if you go on a world tour, you never have to plug this in. Pretty impressive right there. Now, there is one thing I did not mention during the close-up look at the case itself, which is this little sharp corner between the chrome surround and the lid. And I don't see this as a negative because this will make a great shaver when you're on that long road trip. And also, on that long road trip, if someone attacks you, this is a great self-defense weapon. You just toss this at them, it'll break their head. And also, it makes a great glass breaker in an emergency. It works as well as my car glass breaker. If you're underwater or anything like that, this will break windows pretty easily. And also, when this thing dies, when this reaches the end of its life, it'll make a great paperweight. Now, onto the Pamu Slide Mini, guys. And one area that it has the Mifo beat is in its charging capabilities, USB-C and Qi. Wireless charging in a $60-something earbud. That is not bad at all. So shame on Mifo for just staying old school, and awesome for Pamu for doing this. So guys, earlier we mentioned that the Mifo's sound profile is kind of balanced and laid back, right? Now, the Pamus are equally inoffensive too, in a different sort of way. They don't exactly like chase after the wind or reach for the stars and tout that there is some kind of special sound quality to them. So if you're into like things like podcasts and spoken word recordings, these are perfect. You can hear them nice and clear. If you venture outside of that genre, they are kind of weak. They just are kind of softer that way. But I find it a plus if you listen a lot to, audiobooks and such like that. These are perfect. Alright, now we're in negative territory, guys. This is my favorite part, and we'll stick with the Pamu Slide Minis for a second and talk about the sound quality again. Now, the thing is, for $60-something, there are tons of options out there. One that I can think of is, say, the $69 Soundcore P2, Live P2. And those guys sound much better than the Pamu. So the fact is, the competition is so strong that the Pamus really fall behind. So that's a negative for that. So during the close-up of the earbuds, I talked about the oval ear tips and how the execution just falls flat. The idea is great. There are only a couple makers that do it right, like Klipsch and Panasonic. But in this case, in the Pamus, they're just uncomfortable. The fit just doesn't, it's probably 50-50 between both camps. Some people like it and some people won't. And also in terms of aftermarket, it's harder to find replacement oval tips. If you want foam ones, for example, it's slightly harder to find and slightly more expensive as well. Now, one area that I do not like is also the phone call quality. In quiet environments, it's okay, but once that noise cancellation kicks in, oh my goodness, it sounds like I'm in a food processor or something. It's just horrible. If you listen to the samples that we posted earlier of, the difference between the two in my ears or to my ears, these sound a whole lot worse. I don't know, I just don't like them. Now, as for the Mifo O5 Plus, I got a lot of Bluetooth streaming issues. When I was playing music, for example, between different apps, say Deezer or Pandora or Spotify, one moment would be fine, for a few minutes it would be okay, and then the next few minutes it would just sputter along. I'm not sure, there was a lot of cutouts, so there's something up with the Bluetooth device. I'm not sure if this is just a lemon that I got, or if it's just very consistent between the whole line. So maybe owners of these earbuds can probably chime in and tell me and let us know whether this is a common issue. But for me, I did not enjoy that experience, obviously. And again, guys, I do not like the controls on these things. They're really hard to find and are kind of hard to fiddle with. And also any kind of earbud that I have to press really hard to get to, and it feels like it's jamming deeper and deeper into my ear, I'm not a huge fan of. Now, my last few problems with the Mifo have to do with the case. While it looks good and imparts quality and all that, my least favorite part is the lid, for example, that it looks like an ashtray or one of those mint cases where it just flops around and closes really easily. And also it's so behind the times. Micro USB, come on guys. And the other thing about the weight too, it is so heavy, it could just break all the toes in my foot if I just so happen to drop it. I just shattered all my bones in my toes. So here are my final thoughts, guys, between the contender from Hong Kong and the contender from China. Which one reigns supreme? Which one's Kung Fai wins the day? Well, I say it's down to the Mifo O5 Plus. This is my favorite between the two. If you're looking for something that's really unique in design, nice and small, 100 hours of battery life, and pretty good water resistance, IP67 for crying out loud, and $80-something. You don't want to pay an arm and a leg, and if you don't need noise cancellation or anything like that, this is the one to go for. So I give this a wholehearted thumbs up. Go out and get one for yourself and check it out and see if you like it, and comment down below if you have one of these. Let us know if you like it or not. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and I hope you come back next Friday because we're going to be talking about the Sony noise cancelling sports oriented, water resistant, extra bass earbuds that just came out. It's gonna be awesome. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel to show your support and help me bring you more content. So mash and kill the subscribe button and turn on that bell notification icon. That would be super awesome. And also I'm trying to get to 5,000 subs, so help me out there. And also, if you haven't already, please remember to thumbs up if you like this video. Yes, thumbs up and comment nicely down below. Yes, and thumbs down. Thumbs down, and this one's gonna be a little bit serious. Thumbs down to the looters, those guys that have been looting big box stores and all those places and trashing all kinds of things. Thumbs down to you for doing this. I don't care if you thumbs down my videos or leave bad comments, because what you're doing is just pathetic and sad. You should be ashamed of yourself, but we still love you. And I hope you change and do something better. So with that said, I hope you guys have a good week. Take care of yourself and remember to show some love to someone out there. We all need it more than ever. Until the next time, I love you guys. Peace out.